Good morning. How's everybody doing? Happy Venus Day. Today is Friday, and Friday's the day that Venus rules. And Venus has just gone into Virgo, or it's on its way to Virgo. I wanted to come in today and talk about Mercury Retrograde, which will begin. We're actually in the shadow of Mercury Retrograde. We've been in the shadow of the retrograde for nearly 3 weeks. So Mercury Retrograde, let me talk about what Mercury Retrograde is. Mercury Retrograde is a gift from the universe that gives us the opportunity to reconfigure energies that we've been through and determine if the way we went through it was beneficial or if it needs to be transferred into another experience or to another frame of mind, because Mercury governs how we think. It governs how we process our reality. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is the stories you're telling yourself. So when you encounter a person or you're encountering, your system is going to say, this is a woman, this is a black person, and then this is a man, this is that. And then based upon that first run through, then your system is going to go, well, men are this and men are like, and so then you're going to create all of these narratives around the experience you're having. You do that before you even realize, you do it before you realize you've done it. We all are just wired that way. We are, in a constant, like we're detectives, we're constantly detecting reality and giving ourselves stories or narratives about it to make sure that we're safe. So when you come across somebody, like I remember when I first started working, I was in my 20s. After college, I had gone to Howard University, so I had been in school with black people forever. I had been in a city that was, they called it Chocolate City. I think DC is called Chocolate City. So when I got into the workforce, I was deathly afraid of white men. I just was afraid of, like, an energy, like I just felt tight and tensed, and I couldn't really put language to it. But really what I was experiencing was the narratives of the culture and my father and the things that I had, with the epigenetics that I was carrying around white men. So my system would go on high alert when I would be in the office with an attorney. When a white man, like a paralegal, could come to me and be like, hey, could you do such and such and such? And I was terrified because I had a narrative running about who white men were. So, this is Mercury Retrograde. Mercury Retrograde gives us the opportunity to realign the stories. And the thing that it's important for us to understand that we can tell any story we want to tell. So I could begin to tell myself a story that all white men show deference to me because of my power and my beauty and my, brilliance. And if I can program that narrative into my reality, that will have to be my experience. So Mercury Retrograde gives us an opportunity to see what programs are running us, what stories, what narratives, and gives us the energy we need to transform them into new stories. Why? Because this is a mental reality. Everything here is mind, meaning everything is the story you tell. Whatever you tell yourself. And that's why, we experience, like, we watch this experience where cops will be like, I encountered a black person and I was afraid, but they encountered a white person and they weren't afraid because they don't have stories and narratives in their subconscious that white people are scary to them. But they do have stories and narratives in their consciousness that black people are scary. So in some ways, they are scared because they believe that they should be scared, but they don't have to be stuck in that paradigm. Just like as black people, we might tell ourselves that this country is against us. Well, because we tell ourselves this country is against us, this country must be against us. It cannot do different than what we are telling ourselves. And to uproot a code, a belief system, a narrative takes a lot of fucking devotion and commitment and work. To want to be different, to want to have a different experience, you must take responsibility for the current experience you're having in order to change and create a new experience. And we get the opportunity to change the experiences when Mercury goes into retrograde every 88 days, 3 times a year. So Mercury is about to retrograde in Virgo, which means Mercury governs Virgo. So this is a fucking amazing opportunity to transform the narratives that you hold in your body. Literally, your body is the center of creation in this reality. Everything is in your body, whether you believe it or not. We're so disconnected from our bodies. We're so living in our heads. But everything, the codes for who you are and the codes for your connection to this reality are absolutely aligned in your body. So people who have health challenges, that's a code that they have bought into, that they were conditioned into. That's a belief system. A code is a belief system that becomes a mindset, that becomes a practice over time, that creates conditions that you experience. And in order to change the conditions, you must begin to reseed yourself and recode yourself. And the easiest way to do it, that I know, is when the universe is doing it. The universe gives us retrogrades so that we can go look back and say, what was going on here? What happened? What was I doing? But you have to be aware. You have to be willing to take responsibility. You have to willing to kind of take yourself out of the experience so that you're not so victimized by the experience. And when you take yourself out of the experience and you're not as victimized by the experience, then you can see it from a different perspective and begin to make the changes. So for instance, you guys, I've been doing this work a lot of years, and so that gives me an advantage of understanding myself, because I spend a lot of time wanting to be who I'm really meant to be. Like I desire to be more than anything, more than having the love of a man, more than having, a bank overflowing with money, more than having, a house. I desire to know myself more than anything, more than I want somebody's approval, more than I want other people's appreciation. I want to own and know and have full autonomy over myself. And that has been the most profound work, because we are so busy. We're working, we're raising children, and all these things we're doing that take us away and distract us from the thing that really matters, which is you knowing yourself, so that you can actually then, you can't be who you're meant to be if you don't know you. What I have discovered in that is that there was an aspect of me that truly didn't want to know myself, that was convinced that I was going to be happier when I had more money. I was going to be happier when I had a man that really wanted to be with me. I was going to be happier when I had this size body and this kind of house. And I had to, that belief that I was going to be happier when was a tremendous, the belief that I was going to be happier when was a tremendous obstruction in my experience. I would go into these places inside of myself I wanted, but then it was I couldn't get past it, because I really just wanted him to love me and call me, and I really just wanted his approval. And then I had to go into that. Why are you looking for somebody's approval so strong? Why is it that you really want to defer to another? It was deep in me. And then I was oh, that's the nature of womanhood. As women, we have been so programmed that we don't know the answers, that it's going to come from somewhere else. So I had to go push. I had to literally like pull out, my drill, like, my invisible consciousness drill, and just push myself through these deep desires for the approval of others and for the need for other people to understand me and get me. And like, I had to really look at that stuff and go, wow, this is so profound, because those belief systems kept me connected in patterns and ways of being that didn't allow me to be myself. And they were deeply rooted. I mean, deeply rooted. Like, it has been really rigorous to find my way past that. So with Mercury retrograde, and the reason I have gotten here is because I do all the retrograde work. So every 88 days, I am doing the work around the retrograde, no matter where Mercury is. And each time I get a little more open, a little more expansion, a little clearer, because what I realize as I've been doing this work for years is that it's not an all or nothing thing. You have to be consistent. And most people are just not consistent. Most people are just not going to devote to themselves what they really need, because they're chasing the dollar, they're chasing the bag, they're chasing a man, they're chasing something external. They're chasing attention, right? Like, and when we get quiet and we really get quiet and get into our own selves, it feels profoundly lonely. It feels profoundly. So I had to really get past the fear of being alone, even though I was alone, but like I had to embrace being alone. It was like, I'm alone, and I've been alone. I've lived alone for 13, 14 years, but how can I really embrace this and use it? Like, not just be in it because, oh, I'm alone and I'm single. No, I'm alone. Let me use this aloneness. Let me use this energy to actually benefit myself. What is it here for? So Mercury retrograde in Virgo is giving us the opportunity to really recode our health system, right? Like, I know, like, so for me, I am a Virgo, and I have really challenging digestion things that happen in my body that are distracting. Like, I was traveling for 20 days, and my body just wouldn't release, like, just constipation. And I just was like, wow. But if I'm not in a comfortable environment, I have constipation. And so that is because of my childhood programming, where I didn't feel safe in my environment to really be myself. I was raised by my grandmother, who had a daughter who was 8 years older than me. And my grandmother created this sort of thing between us. Like, I was 4, my aunt was 12. And my grandmother would really be like, Monique is so special. She's so special. She's going to do great things. And insisted that her children take care of me also. But because she praised me so much, it created like a jealousy in them. And I was not a humble child. I was very I was very flippant, very, precocious. And so they had to take care of me, but they didn't want to take care of me. So I got subtly tortured in my environment. And so, the work has been to understand what was going on, to not take it personally, to process the anger, the pain that was inflicted upon me because of they didn't really like me, and they had to do what she told them to do. But I had to really see that from another perspective and understand that my aunt was at 12 years old being forced to parent a 4-year-old child. And of course she didn't like me when she had to do everything for me. But as an adult, that created a pattern in me of attracting people who really don't appreciate me for real, who are just pretending, who are kind of in my space because they think they're going to get something from me. They're not doing it because they're sincere, because that pattern got placed in me as a child. So I've been running it all these years. But it took me doing the work to be able to see the pattern in the code, and I had to do the self-forgiveness because it's not like it just revealed. Like, the way I'm talking about it now is because I have done the work around it. it's not because it just went away. It's not because I just evolved through it. It's because I have looked at my relationship with my grandmother and understood what was it like for this 55-year-old woman in 1972 to be taking on a 3-year-old child. What was it like for a 12-year-old girl to be taking on a 4-year-old? Like, I had to look at those things. They didn't. The thing that's the key to us accessing our power, it takes being responsible for everything. And the reason I've been able to be responsible for everything is because I truly serves. I truly believe that everything in my reality has happened to support me and help me. Even if it looks like abuse, it was and I do the rituals and the practices that the retrogrades offer, the Saturn retrograde, looking at the karma, looking and like investigating, like looking at my life like it's a math equation that I am working to get the solution to. And when I do that, the solutions come. And literally, so I have transformed that. So my whole family has been transformed, literally, because I was the one who saw the pattern, who saw what was happening. And now my whole family is free in a way that we have never been free, because one person, it could have been somebody else, but it was me. One person saw the trauma codes and decided to heal it inside of myself. So now it's unraveling for everyone. So this Mercury retrograde begins on the 4th in Virgo, and then it's going to go to Leo. Mercury retrograde in Leo is the opportunity to rewire your childhood patterns. Leo is the inner child. So Mercury retrograde in Leo is saying, let's get in there and let's see where you gave up your childhood. Where did you give up your innocence? Where did you relinquish it? Where did you leave it? Where did you, right? You know, and this is why this retrograde is so exciting, because we get to reclaim aspects of ourselves that we lost long ago. So I am doing readings and coaching, private coaching for this Mercury retrograde. You can book it in my profile link or my link tree, or you can go to Heal with Moon Mama, or you can go to healwithmoonmama.com and you can sign up for and schedule your reading there. Mercury retrograde will go, we're in the shadow now. So if you pay attention to what things are coming up for you, what are the things that are coming up for you? In the last 2 or 3 weeks, what have been the things in your life that are getting your attention? This Mercury retrograde in Leo is about opening your heart, coming into deep love and acceptance of yourself and others. But I want you to know that that is a process. I feel like, you know, in the time that we're alive and in the culture, we want quick fixes. We want it to happen now. And everything is happening now, right? So it's a complex thing because everything is now. But you must build a practice of consistency. It's literally like, you know, you grow up in a house of alcoholics, you become an alcoholic, you go get healed, and then you come and live back in the house with the alcoholics. You're going to start drinking again. You just are it's just how it works. You have to really uproot the pattern. You have to really give yourself another way of being so that you don't continue to recreate those old codes, belief systems, mindsets, practices, and ways of being. So we have a mighty opportunity right now with Mercury retrograde happening. The first retrograde was Mercury in Aries. I didn't do much of anything for that. Mercury in Aries 88 days ago was about really accessing your true identity. Aries is a fire sign. Now it's being Mercury retrograde in Leo. Leo is about having the confidence to live from your heart. And Mercury retrograde says, what are the things that are blocking you from living from your heart? So I encourage you to come and book a reading with me. You can do so in my Linktree or at my website, healwithmoonmama.com. It is my pleasure to be able to support you all. Let me tell y'all, I just came back. I was in Bali for 20 days. That trip changed my life. It changed my life. It was one of the most difficult things I've done. But Bali is an amazing place because it is balanced between the masculine and the feminine. There is a energy of sacred practice there that is happening all the time. And when I got there, I felt embodied. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm in my body for the first time. It was very interesting to see that, like, I could feel, one of the most amazing things that I felt was like the men were not over-sexualized. So it was, for the first time in my life, I was in a space where I didn't feel an attack of sexual energy. I didn't feel a grabbing, a predatory pulling. I didn't feel that going on at all as a woman. I was like, it just allowed me to relax and be safe and calm. And I could feel things that I couldn't feel prior because it wasn't available in this Western mindset. And so I am interested in sharing what I have learned with you all. I am also creating new programs and new ways of being that I'm going to be able to offer, the things that I offer so that I can truly support us in healing in the West. It's the Western mindset that is up for healing. And we're watching our country come undone. We're watching all the systems come undone. I have been saying that if you go back and look at my videos for years now, I have been saying we were going to get here, and we are here now. And so I hope that you guys have made a commitment to healing, because there is no going back. There is no going back. And if you have made a commitment to healing, it be my pleasure to be able to support you in that. All right, you all. Peace and blessings. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.